Okay, so I have 4 o'clock on my watch here, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, my name is Rob Cullen. I'm board president. For anyone who's watching this on YouTube, please, if you do have any public comments for the beginning of the meeting or comments on any of our agenda items, please email those comments to comment@svswa.org, comment@svswa.org. And right now, we'll have the minutes reflect that myself, Rob Cullen, and alternate vice president Chris Lopez are in attendance. And I want to check to see, do we have Vice President Gloria de la Rosa on yet? Okay, she'll be joining us in a minute. Let's go ahead and start with general manager comments, and I'll turn it over to you, Patrick.
Yeah, I only have a few, just really some updates on the COVID-19 response plan. So we're continuing to monitor the situation. Operations are generally status quo. We are seeing a bit of a decline in franchise refuse, but not too significant because we have the ag industry here, and they're essential and still a large generator. Strangely, though, we are seeing peaks of residential self-haul. So there is, I hope all of you have seen it, there was a joint message that was put out by the Environmental Health Department, our agency, and Monterey Regional, basically just asking people to consider whether their trip to our facilities are essential. Environmental health does not want us to actually close down to self-haul, but we sort of came with a common message that we want people to really think about, is it important to come here, is it essential? What I think we're seeing right now, and I'm hearing this within our peer groups discussions that have been going on, is that people are doing boredom cleaning. They're home, stuck at home with nothing else to do, and they're doing their spring cleaning, their garage cleaning, cleaning out cupboards, and so we're going to continue to push that message to try to keep the exposures, number of exposures with our employees down to a minimum. But they're all doing an excellent job of maintaining social distancing and following the added precautions we've requested that they take care of to protect themselves. So even with a reduced staff right now, while we have some in temporary reserve, waiting out 2-week groups at home, and we'll be rotating those people back in next week and rotating another group out so that we're maintaining a healthy workforce in reserve. So far everything's going well. That is all I have for today.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Patrick. I do see that Gloria has joined us. Thank you for joining us, Gloria. We'll be doing committee member comments in a minute. When we do get to you, just remember to unmute your phone there. So we're going to go down to department manager comments now, and we'll start with Caesar. Do you have any comments for us?
Yeah, just want to jump on the same situation that Patrick's talking about. The staff's doing pretty good. They're in pretty good spirits. We do meet daily. We are communicating on changes or impacts that are presented to them. So they are in very good spirits. Naturally, they are scared, but we are taking all the precautions. So just want to let the board know that staff is doing a great job. I mean, I always praise staff, but this is definitely something that I've got some employees who are scared, but they're showing up to work. We're doing our job. We're rotating people out that are high risk or older age group, or have also expressed that they're scared. So thank you for to the board for allowing us that leeway. So those are my comments today.
Great, thank you, Caesar. Let's go to Ray. Any comments, Ray?
Just a reminder that our rate hearing was rescheduled to April 16th. We opted not to bring it back to executive committee since there are no changes, since we did present it at the last regular EC meeting on March 5th. The noticing requirements required us to push it back at April 16th to April 16th since the March 19th regular meeting was canceled.
Okay, thank you. Mandy, anything for us, Mandy?
No comments at this time. Thank you.
Okay, and Brian?
I have no comments.
Okay, before we go to committee member comments, just a comment to the public that if you do have any items that you want to submit to public comment, you can do so by sending an email to comment@svswa.org. And we'll go to committee member comments, and we'll start with Vice President Gloria de la Rosa, please. And Gloria, if you are talking, I see that you are still on mute there. There's an icon on the bottom left hand of the screen to unmute your phone. And while we're waiting for you, Chris, if you want to unmute your phone and provide any comments.
Sure. I just wanted to thank staff for continuing to do everything you can through these unprecedented times to make sure that the public knows that they have a place to take those things that they're cleaning out of their homes too. And you know, I know that I want to make sure folks are aware. From what I understand, tomorrow there'll be a new order coming from our health officer. We've seen health officers in the area, including San Benito, put out new orders as recently as today. And so we are anticipating a new order that is more restrictive to come out tomorrow, and that could reduce some of the loads that are coming into the Solid Waste Authority. So that's just kind of a heads up on some potential developments that will be announced tomorrow. But as we continue to deal with this, obviously it's a lot of questions still out there, but know that we're working really closely with the 4 hospitals to make sure that we're able to take any potential surge on. We do believe that we're sitting in a pretty good position at this point, but what folks can do that are either participating or listening in on this meeting is continue to help us flatten the curve by staying home. That is the most effective thing you can do besides washing your hands and socially distancing. You know, by staying home, you're really reducing the amount of transmission that happens in our communities. You're protecting one another, and most certainly you're protecting those that are most vulnerable in our community, which are seniors and those with underlying conditions. This COVID-19 is not a joke. It's impacted a lot of families, including mine. I've had a family member, not immediate family member, but go through this, and it's not easy, no matter what your age is. Take it seriously. And again, the thing that you can do that helps the most is to isolate at home if you can, and make sure that you're washing your hands and socially distancing if you're considered essential and not able to do that. But thank you to all the employees of the Solid Waste Authority for taking this seriously, to the staff for stepping up, especially Patrick, to make sure that we're doing everything we can as an agency to make sure that our people are safe, because that's the focus here. It's about people at the end of the day. And those are my comments. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Chris, for those updates, and thank you again for your leadership on this. It's been very nice to see you out in front of a camera or on Facebook or other mechanisms, just providing updates. That just goes a long way. So thank you for that. Let's go back to Vice President Gloria de la Rosa. And Gloria, your phone is still muted, so bottom left hand of the screen is the unmute button, or perhaps someone from the authority can reach out to her and maybe call her cell or something to try to assist her with that. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and I just want to, actually, one comment that comes to mind, Chris, I'll direct it towards you. I've been hearing more and more jurisdictions moving away from the phrase social distancing and instead using physical distancing. And 2 reasons. One is that we want people to be social, just in a different way, because that social aspect is important for mental health. But I think also sometimes it's for people with English as a second language to understand social distancing versus physical distancing. Clearly what we want people to do is stay physically distant from each other. So I just wanted to pass that on. I think that it may be something that as this little bit of time goes on, that we may want to potentially change our verbiage or how we're communicating the need and the requirement to people. So
absolutely, thank you.
For what that's worth. Okay, Gloria, I see that you are unmuted now. Do you have any comments for us?
No. How did that happen though?
I don't know. There's a button on the bottom left for
on the
mute.
bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, okay,
Oh,
so I'm unmuted.
Sorry
Thank
to interrupt. That was me, Gloria. I do have host control, so I can unmute you for you. So.
Oh, okay, so okay, thank you.
Aha, we were holding you hostage there.
I know, I was
Sorry,
like, they don't
Gloria.
want me to speak. No,
Okay,
I,
okay, we'll go to public comment then. Have any comments come in via email?
No, no public comment.
Okay. A reminder to the public, if you do wish to submit a question on any of these items as we go forward the rest of our agenda, please email them to comment@svswa.org, and I'll periodically check to see if any comments have been submitted. But the way to submit those is to email them to comment@svswa.org. At this point in time, we'll go on to the consideration items. The first item is the minutes of the March 5th, 2020 meeting. Is there any committee discussion on that item?
none.
None.
Do we have any public comment on the item?
No, no public comment.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
So
Move
moved.
approval.
Okay, we have a first
Second.
by Chris, second by Gloria. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And motion carries. We'll go to item number 2, February 2020 claims and financial reports. I'll turn it over to Ray Hendricks, Finance and Administration Manager.
And Ernesto, can you bring up the PDF? Thank you. Okay, so at the end of February, we were at 15.4 million year-to-date revenue, roughly $300,000 ahead of what we were same time last year. We did end last year at just over 23 million, and this year we're budgeted for just shy of 21 million. So we have a nice little buffer, shall we say, to kind of help get us through the next couple of months. Expenditures are all in line compared to where they should be. We did pay our debt service interest payment, the second portion at the beginning of February, which resulted in more expenditures than revenues for the month, but we are in fairly good shape. Unless there's any questions.
None.
Okay, let's go to committee discussion first. And so Vice President Gloria De La Rosa, you have no comments?
No.
Okay, and alternate Vice President Chris Lopez?
No questions.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, sure is nice to have that buffer there on the revenue side, anticipating lower revenue and then anticipating higher expenses in certain categories. Certainly nice to be in the position that we're in for now.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about and being cautious for the last year and a half, expecting a recession. This wasn't necessarily the way I expected a recession to hit us, but we definitely were trending far enough ahead to get us through this fiscal year, and depending on how deep a recession we have and how long it recovery takes, we should hopefully be in pretty good shape next fiscal year as well.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Is there any public comment come in on this item?
No comments.
Okay, then I'll entertain a motion. The recommended action is to forward to the board and recommend approval.
So moved.
Okay, we have a first by Chris Lopez, second by Gloria De La Rosa. All those in favor?
Aye.
A motion carries. We'll go on to item number 3, update on the Global Organics Energy Demonstration Project and related agreements. And we're going to receive a report from Patrick Matthews, please.
Yeah, this is very brief, but I wanted to sort of bring this topic back up again. And I know, Gloria, you and Rob are very familiar with this project. It's been an on-again, off-again project with the authority for actually 13, 14 years now. And it's technology. We have been informed by Global Organics Energy that they are on the cusp of securing all their financing finally. I won't go into the reasons why it's been delayed, but some of it has been due to the fact that garbage is not an interesting topic for investors, but it has changed in the last several years. And Also, there's been a little bit of concern over some of the issues the authority's been dealing with in general, but they have now secured 3 of their 4 financial venture partners. I've unfortunately been told I'm not supposed to be sharing those names until those agreements have been signed, but I think it would be a very beneficial thing for us when we look at who these partner companies may be that are interested. Having said all that, really the only thing that we're going to be looking at for the full board in April is that there are 3 agreements. There is one for the demonstration project, which is to take the pilot unit that exists up at the Crazy Horse landfill, and they want to scale that up to full commercial scale. And so the demonstration agreement provides for us to, in essence, house that commercial demonstration at Johnson Canyon. We've already received one of the permits for that from the Waste Board, our solid waste facilities permit. With the exception of providing space for it, all the costs associated with that and the additional permitting will all be the responsibility of Global Organics Energy. We're primarily just acting as the host for that test bed project and also providing the waste stream for them to run those tests. So that's a short-term agreement. In addition to that, the board had executed several years ago well, not really executed, we just accepted the business terms, non-binding of course, business terms with Global Organics about how a partnership could be structured if the board and Global Organics ever decided they wanted to move forward with a full commercialization of this technology. And finally, the original and first agreement was done actually all the way back in 2012 when they acquired the technology from the prior design company that both the authority and the U.S. Department of Agriculture had been working jointly on in the very early years of looking at this separation technology. And that agreement is the only one that actually has expired. And so in good faith with Global Organics Energy, I'll be asking that we extend that agreement to the end of next year. Again, it's not binding. It simply lays out that we have rights of first refusal on that technology because of all the time and energy investment that our agency has put into looking at it. And it just, again, keeps the framework in place, but again, doesn't bind us to anything. The project is still subject to CEQA if it were to be commercialized. It's still subject to a lot of different due diligence that we would have to do. But again, all agreements are structured around placing the risk onto the developer and their financing team and not on the authority. Our interest has always been to be a host, and if the technology is successful, that we would be the first benefactor of that technology with, again, the development group footing the bill for building the plants, hiring, staffing, with us, again, our role being primarily as either the host and or the waste supplier. So we would gain the benefits, the diversion benefits from it, but without having any risk other than delivery of waste to a processing technology. So for Chris's benefit, I will give you the 3-minute version of what the technology is. It is using a autoclave system. An autoclave is traditionally been used for sterilization. This is a giant system that can actually cook and sterilize batches of garbage up to 25 tons at a batch. The process heats up the garbage, injects steam, low pressure, brings the garbage up to a temperature well above the boiling point of water, and it has the interesting effect of separating paper from any paper that's in the mixed garbage, which there is a lot of, separating the paper from the rest of the refuse. very much like that piece of paper you left in your pants pocket when you put it in the washer. Comes out in little pills, makes it very easy to separate the paper component from the rest of the waste. The added benefit is that paper also absorbs all the cooked organic materials that are released during that heating process. And so you have these little sponges of paper fiber soaked with organic material. And then they go through a traditional process of washing the paper, just like you'd see at a recycled paper plant, to create a clean paper pulp that is ready for manufacturing and ready for delivery to existing markets. So this isn't a new paper plant, it's a recycled paper plant that would be the buyer for this material. And the wastewater that comes off that washing process is full of organic material that was in the waste. That material is anaerobically digested to create methane and clean up the water so it can be recycled back into the washing system. So that's the short version of what the technology has done. It's been fully tested and validated by a number of universities, as well as a number of papers published by the USDA. It's taken a lot of years. It started long before I was even here, but we still see value in it, particularly in the current market circumstances we have with China. And we would like to see that project continue to move forward into the commercial demonstration, which would help us decide whether this is something we would want to pursue further. But we need to have all three agreements continue to be active to assist GOE in their final financing push.
Okay, thank you for that update. Let's do board discussion first, and we'll start with Gloria, please.
Okay, I was going to notes. Well, yeah, this was something that we've talked about in the past, so we need to continue to looking at that, you know, bringing it forward, like you're saying, Patrick, and giving us more information. And I'm sure the board members will have a lot of questions on it, especially the ones that don't know about it.
Actually, 6 of the 9 have probably never
Yeah.
even heard about it.
Heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been sitting idle for a while, but they've informed us that the money is just about lined up, so.
Yeah, and so on that note, then this, okay, so this is on the agenda as provide input and direction. I'm assuming we're going to have it on the agenda for the full board for a report. Is that correct?
Yeah, my intent is to do a brief presentation, and we've got a number of them because the board has seen this technology and presentation. So I will bring back one of those presentations with some few updates on it, and just sort of walk through for the board members that aren't familiar with it what technology is and what the existing agreements we have in place are, and what they actually mean for the authority in terms of risk and cost.
Right.
Yeah. Good. Okay. All right. Chris, do you have any comments on this item or questions on this item?
No comments, just I heard a rumor, Patrick. I mean, so obviously I know a little bit about the project, having been on staff for someone for many years and doing some research when we started these conversations. But I heard a rumor that it was actually Charmin who is now interested and might be funding this thing, since toilet paper is so hot right now. You don't have to confirm or deny, but no, I think it would be important just to get it to the board with as much information as possible, just to kind of explain, especially the economic side of it, knowing with all the COVID stuff going on, that local budgets are going to be so heavily impacted by the reduction in taxes for both fuel tax and sales tax. Understanding what the financial impacts of a project like this are, I think would be critical moving forward for this board. You know, that's just kind of off the top of my head, knowing that I think from this point forward, there's going to be a lot more scrutiny on any new projects. Knowing this has been in the pipe for so long makes it a little easier. But again, with the 6 new board members, I think it would be critical to get as much of the financial information in the presentation as possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
And at the same time, it will be interesting to see if some of the proposed stimulus money in the second round of stimulus that's already under discussion if there's going to be anything in there that could potentially, that we could potentially benefit from on this project. Probably a long shot, but you never know.
Yeah.
Great.
All right, let's go to public comment on this. Any public comment on this item?
No, we don't have any.
Okay, so I think the only other thing that I would add is just to reiterate, then, since most of the board members won't even know what this topic is, that you have something that's a short, concise, here's what the technology is piece. And I know, like you said, Patrick, there's been multiple presentations in the past that you can pull from. So that's my only additional item I'll add. Is there any other direction that you needed, Patrick?
Nope, that was really what I just wanted to see if there was questions and specific how you'd like me to bring it forward, and that matches up with what I was planning to do.
Okay, very good. Then let's go to item number 4, which is an update on the City of Salinas 1-year notice of intent to withdraw from the joint powers agreement with the Salinas Valley Solid Waste Authority. And Patrick, do you have any updates for us?
No, it's the same update we had at the board, and that is the meeting was with the city manager and the mayor remains on April 13th, and so we're hopeful that'll be a productive meeting, and we can talk about options.
And I do want to add, Patrick, that I got an email from my city manager that this topic was discussed at the last city managers meeting, and I have a meeting with Steve Adams to discuss that tomorrow. So I will let you know. But did you hear about that, Patrick, about that being discussed?
No.
Okay. Well, I will update you after I meet with Steve Adams, and then I'll certainly update the full board at our next board meeting.
All right.
Okay. Any board discussion on this, Gloria? Anything on your side?
No, just again, that I was told that the meeting is April 13th and that you'll be attending, and Patrick, with the city manager and the mayor, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
On the 13th of April, that's still on.
Yep.
And I'm so glad.
Yep. Okay. Chris, any comment on this item?
No comments for me.
Okay. Has any public comment come in on this item?
No, no public comment.
Okay. Then let's take a look at the future agenda items.
Okay, so as you can see, we do have the update on the Global Organics project and agreement. So it'll be both a presentation and a request to extend the technology agreement through the end of 2021, so we retain our rights to first right of refusal on that technology development. We did circulate the 2018 market research study results. But because of sort of the shortness and the other issues we were dealing with on the 26th, we promised we would bring that back for a regular board meeting presentation. So Mandy will be doing that at our April meeting and focusing specifically on the issues around public input on local facilities here in the Salinas area. We have our public hearing for rates scheduled. We weren't, as we said at the last meeting, we weren't able to schedule the hearing concurrent with the budget, so we appreciate the board approving the budget, but we still have to go back and approve those rates at the April meeting, so to finalize that. And we've had a couple of inquiries by the haulers about that as well, and we've informed them that just that the budget's been approved, but the hearing, the rate hearing could not have been set on that revised meeting date because of the 15-day minimum noticing requirement. We didn't have enough time to get the hearing noticed for that special meeting. Outside of that, that really is just sort of a summary of what we have coming.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Any questions on any or comments on any of those items, Gloria?
No. Thank
okay,
you.
Chris?
No comments. I just always want to know when Gloria Road's going to be done. You know that. So I'm glad to see it on the chart. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank,
In a minute here, I'm going to read into the record the items that we're going to go into closed session for. Prior to us going into closed session, the public is welcome to submit comments on any of these items. And to do so, you would send an email to comment@svswa.org. The three items that we're going to go into closed session on, the first item is real property negotiations. The second item is threat to public services and or facilities, consideration of tactical response plan consultation. And the third item is conference with legal counsel, deciding whether to initiate litigation. And I will go ahead and pause for a minute, just in case people are sending in a comment or a question on any of those items. So I'm going to pause for 1 minute. I'll be silent for a minute, and then we'll resume, and I'll see if any comments have been submitted. Please stand by. Okay, that concludes the minute. Have any public comments come in?
No, no public comment.
Okay, at this point, we will go to closed session and we will reconvene after.
to bring us back. Oh, here he goes. He's
Okay, so we are now reconvened into open session here. And let me just check who's in the room here. And it looks like we are all,
I'm here.
yeah, we are all here now. And Gloria, you are muted. At this point in time, for those of the public that are listening, we did not take any action in closed session, any reportable action in closed session. So at this point in time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So move.
Okay, and Chris with the second, and we stand adjourned at 5:12 here. Thank you all for attending, and stay tuned for our next full board meeting on April 16th. April 16th. Good night, y'all.
Thank you, everybody.